Good afternoon. Hello, everybody. Move my camera back a little bit. Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? Just get myself a little bit set up here. Put something in the chat. Hello. Let's see. What do I want you guys to say? See if I can get something in the chat here. Pin it. All right. I think we are set up and ready to rock and roll. Let's see. Get some hand sanitizer. Hello. All right. You know what? Before I start, let me just grab my other device. I will be right back. All right. Don't have anybody here yet, but what I'm gonna do is go ahead and describe what I'm gonna do today, just in case someone watches the playback. I am going to have some containers out in the backyard that have some fall plants in it, and what I'm gonna do is direct sow them on the inside and then take the containers outside. It's not the same as having a grow light or anything like that, so I can essentially plant them inside, take the containers outside, water them in. I'm gonna water them on a very light water so that whenever it does spray the seeds on top, that it won't like spread them out too much. But I'm essentially gonna use one of these little planter containers here. And when I use the planter container, what I'm gonna do is fill it with potting soil, because this is technically a pot here. So welcome everybody to the channel. Let's get going today with some indoor potting. I'm gonna use some, like I said, some potting soil, and put some of the fall vegetables in here that are kind of heat tolerant, because it is pretty much still very hot here. So one of the things that I want to try to plant is an Asian green. I like them in the wintertime, but I want to get them started now so that when they come in, it's already like established. But one of the things that I've noticed is a lot of the Asian greens aren't really as frost tolerant. So I want to be able to get them in and get them established for when the fall comes. They'll take a bit of a frost, but not too much of it. So what I have here is I'll move over the camera so you can kind of see. I have potting soil here. And then I also have, let me just move around again. I have the seeds here. So what I'm going to be planting in this container, this is the only thing I'm going to plant in this container, is some pak choi cabbages, like a Asian green. So I'm not going to plant it very close together. I'll move the camera down so you can kind of see how I'm planting it in here. But the first thing that I need to do here is pretty much prep the soil. Thank you everybody for joining in. Please come in, drop a like, subscribe. Just come in and say hello so I know you're there. If you have any questions while I'm doing things and I'm just chatting along with you guys, please let me know. Anybody plant any fall garden seeds? If you have an outdoor in the ground garden, if you have a container garden, let me know. I would like for this to be an interactive stream. So, drop some likes. Aura, hi, how you doing? Where you located, Aura? Do you have a garden? Let me know. So I'm gonna drag around and I'll show you here. I'll move it around so you can kind of see it a little bit. You know what? I'll do this. I'm gonna move it around so you can kind of see see, this is the potting soil that I'm gonna use. You'll notice I have a little notebook down there. That's essentially to help me figure out when I'm planting things. So just move this back around. It helps me to, remember when I planted things so I can keep track from year to year what all I planted, if it's successful. Yes, you do have a garden. Let me know what kind of garden you have and where are you located? What zone, what gardening zone are you in? What am I planting? Today I'm going to plant some things. I'm going to plant some seedlings, but I want to start indoor. Some pak choi white stem cabbage. I'm going to put them in this long planters box here. And then I'm just going to sit it outside in a more shaded area because we know that these can bolt. Hi, my name is Cash and my mom is Emily and she's on. Hi everybody, how you doing, Lucille? Thank you guys for coming into the stream. Yeah, I love cabbage too. This pak choi cabbage doesn't taste like regular cabbage in my opinion. So we'll see how successful we are. I'm a risk taker. So, I just, you'll notice with a lot of my streams and things that we do on camera and my videos that I have on my channel, I like to try new things. And when I'm trying new things, it's kind of like trial and error, which is why I document things as I go. Can I play Roblox? I don't play Roblox. How long does it take it to grow? This says that it takes days to germinate, 7 to 14, we'll see. And if I started indoors, 6 to 8 weeks, but if I direct sow it, as soon as the ground is workable, and workable just simply means the soil is nice and loose. Have a great day. Have a great day. And Lucille also started a YouTube channel. Welcome. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you can. I'd love for you to see you guys come into the streams again. I do one scheduled stream a week, and sometimes I try to pop in and do some random streams if I am available on the weekend. So this garden soil I'm gonna try to put in without getting myself a little too dirty, but we know gardening is dirty work, so I'm just gonna drop some soil down here and go as I go. See what happens. You're new. Oh man. So, all right, Daryl, I hear you. But what all do you like to plant in your garden? If you have a garden, let me know. You and your mom are making cookies today? What kind of cookies are you making? I like cookies too. My favorite cookie is chocolate chip. So I'm just here putting in this garden soil in here. Oh, you're making chocolate chips? That's my favorite. I also like oatmeal raisin cookies. So, have my gloves on. And I'm going to try to fill it up to the top little dip of this container. Just to make sure that there's enough soil in here. It's nice and loose. I'll show you a picture of it before I start planting it in. Oh, you must have a big yard. You want to plant okra and purple sugarcane. So Daryl says he wants to plant okra and purple sugarcane. When I was little, so I'm originally from the South. When I was little, we used to have sugarcane in our yard. It was delicious. You just go out and you trim it down and you chew on it, and it was delicious. I actually have okra out. Show you the soil. Sure. Let me try to pull the camera down a little bit. Wrong way. All right. So there you go, Daryl. So you got the soil that I'm putting in here from the pot. What part of the South? I'm from one of the Carolinas. But yeah, I have okra here. I have a small backyard garden. You can check out some videos on my camera to see a view of my my garden. I actually just picked my first few okra last week, and as soon as I picked them, I ate them and they were delicious. Daryl, are you from South Carolina? Let me know. Or are you asking, am I from South? Oh, you don't. What's up, Jason? How are you this morning? Good morning, good morning. Almost afternoon. I'm getting a bit of a late start today. It's taking a lot to fill this, but I want to fill it as much as I can. Lucille, you're not from South Carolina or Carolina? It's okay. Pull the camera back up so I can have a better view of my chat here. There we go. All right. All right, let's Daryl, let's try to keep that a little bit clear to chat. We want to keep certain topics a little bit, you know, be respectful of everybody. So like I said, we're going to plant some pak choi. Lucille, you're from Indiana. Nice to meet you. Hope you subscribe and join. I hope you like the content that's here so far. Let's see. Sorry. Got a message. All right. It's a joke. Gotcha. So this big bag of soya, I wish that I could just lift it and pour, but it's just taking me a long time to fill this morning. I probably should have filled it before I started streaming, but I like for people to see my entire process for the most part. So I'm almost there. Some big chunks. I'm also gonna have to clean up pretty good here because I'm dropping potting soil everywhere on my sun porch. So this is kind of like one of my workstations. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Rich. Sir, you're late, but it's okay. Better late than never. All right, so filling in. You didn't get a notification today? Oh my goodness. YouTube got to work on that. Maybe because it's not scheduled. Right. Try to get more of this soil in here without getting anything too dirty. For me, it is 11:57, so almost noon, Lucille. How about you? See, what we would normally do is on a Wednesday morning, I get up bright and early. So the difference between the potting soil and so Daryl is asking what's the difference between soil and the regular dirt in his yard. So potting soil is looser, is made up of a lot of different like organic material. It's a lot looser. The soil in your yard could be, depending on where you live, can be very sandy. It could be very clay-like and thick. So it's just the velocity of the soil, and it just makes a difference. So for I tell a lot of people, if you're gonna have like a potted garden, you don't want to just put dirt from your yard. Some people try it and they just notice that, you know, it can have like a lot of disease, and it's sometimes it's just too thick to be in a pot because it doesn't drain very well. Hope that answered your question. I have, like I said, I have pots that I'm gonna have stuff in, but I also have majority of my garden is just outright in the soil in my yard. But my soil in my yard that I use for my garden has been worked very well. Worked meaning I've been planting in it over the years and fertilizing and maintaining it, weeding it. So my soil in the yard is like, you know, it's garden soil. If I ever move and someone wants to plant flowers or a garden here, they're in great shape because I keep very, very good maintenance on the soil in my garden and in the pots. And for the pots, sometimes I try to refresh the soil. And sometimes what I do is when I think that soil is like exhausted in the pots, I'll just empty it out in the soil in the yard and kind of like work it in so that eventually it'll just be like soil for your yard. Thank you for the question. That was actually something that someone else had asked me before, because they was like, why can't I just put dirt from my yard in these pots? And I'm like, because it doesn't drain very well, and you're gonna have to make sure it drains. And you also have to make sure when you have pots that they have holes at the bottom so that whenever you water it, like, or if you have like a heavy rain, it doesn't like sit on top and like drown your plant. So that's something that happens as well. So now we have the soil all in here as far as I want it to go. So I'm gonna do something that I normally wouldn't do. I'm just gonna take these gloves off and I'm gonna try to pretty much range. So I said before that a lot of times I don't follow the instructions on the back of the packet because I have a small yard. Pull it. It is very therapeutic for me, and I didn't think I had a green thumb, but I think it runs in the family. My grandmother has a garden, and I take after her. She plants every year, and we compare things with each other. So I think it's a blessing to do it, and it is very therapeutic for me. So whenever I get a little frustrated or whatever, I will simply come outside in my garden or on my back porch and, you know, plant whatever it is that I want to plant. And I'm also very, yes, Rich, no gloves. But I'm not going to be putting my hands down in this dirt like that. So I don't have my little seeding tool that I poke holes in the dirt. So I'm going to do maybe a little bit less than a centimeter, like a tiny part of a centimeter. I'm just going to poke holes where I want it to go. And I'm going to kind of zigzag it so that each plant has like the proper amount of space when it gets bigger. Let me just start poking holes in. And before I start planting, I'll pick up the camera and show you exactly where I'm putting the holes before I start putting the seeds in. So I'm just going to poke a few holes down so that I know exactly. Can I? Yeah, I will definitely pull the camera down in a few minutes, just to let you see what I mean when I say I zigzag it, so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. It's okay. Lucille, you and your mom plan on having a garden? Or are you just gonna plant cookies today? Is a garden something? Is that one of your goals one day to have a garden? Sometimes my daughter comes out and she plants with me. So the question is, does it matter how deep you plant the seed in your yard? Like, can I go to, so when you're planting seeds out in your yard, you have to look at what size the seeds are. I'm going to show you what size these seeds are in a minute, and they're very small. What you don't want to do, how you doing, God Body? How are you? Thank you for coming into the stream and continuously supporting the channel. I really, really, really appreciate it. That's a friend of mine. Appreciate all the support. So let me pick up this camera. All right, LB, I already know. But to get back to you, Daryl, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the size of this seed, right? So I'll put my hand up to the camera. So you see how small these seeds are? You don't want to bury the seeds so much that they can't go through the soil that's on top of it. You want it to have good connection with the soil, but you don't want to bury them so deep that they can't come up whenever it's time for them to germinate. So I lightly, let me put these back in here so I could show you the size of the holes that I put into this pot. And then I'll show you in a little bit. I'm gonna do some other seedlings in a pot, but I'll show you in a little bit seedlings that I did last weekend. So you notice here, see, they're very, very dense holes, right? Very dense holes that I'm gonna put the, and you know, I went in a zigzag, so here, 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 and then I just pretty much go up, right? So, so that'll pretty much show you how I put the holes in. And I don't, like I said, I don't want to put them so deep that whenever the plants go to come up out of the soil, that they don't come out. Like, that's kind of like a waste of seeds. What I'm also going to do is put 2 to 3 seeds per hole. And that's just in case one doesn't germinate. It's not like you're wasting the entire planting, hoping for something to come up. So I'll have to go back and thin them out eventually, but it's okay because I have more than enough seeds here. So there's approximately 300 seeds in each pack, and there's more than enough seeds to plant in this pot and any other pot. I actually might be a little bit adventurous and plant some of these outside. So I'm gonna pick, since they're so small, I'm gonna pick about 3 per hole. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You're in the 3rd grade? What's so funny is my daughter, in a couple weeks, is going to be in the 3rd grade. Thank you, Rich. Rich, you might want to scroll up because there's some other comments that are maybe a bit questionable. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So even though I had poured a lot of seeds in my hand, I simply still have a ton of them left. So I may go and direct seed some seeds in the garden a little later. But now, Rich, if you notice, I'm putting my gloves back on because now I need to go in and, you know what? Before I put the glove back on, let me just show you. You're probably not even gonna really be able to see the seeds because they're dark and they're gonna blend pretty much with the soil. So we look here, let's see, go here. You'll see that I have them in there, and what I'm essentially gonna do into each hole is lightly pack it over, lightly pack it over, lightly pack it over. All right, lightly pack it. The breeze coming into the sun porch is amazing this morning or this afternoon. We're supposed to get some very hot weather. So I want to put these in. Let me just switch the camera back so I can see everybody and everybody can see me. Okay. So it is not, this is regular organic plus potting soil. Okay, so organic plus potting soil, and the reason why I'm using organic plus potting soil is simply because I want to have all the plant matter, organic matter, and everything I need for these seeds, and as they germinate and become plants, it already has like a lot of nutrients in it. So one of the things that I'm very big on that everyone needs to do is to make sure that they have the labels. So as you can see, I have a stack of labels here. I'm just going to put the name, pak choi cabbage, and for good measure, I'm also, so that I know the date that I put the seeds in, I'm going to write the date. So what is today's date? Today is the 17th, and so I'm going to write 8/17 on here, 25. So I know exactly when I planted them, and I can kind of keep inventory or keep a detail of how, how long it took to germinate. I'll write notes on it and things like that. So I have my label all in there. I'm gonna move this one to the side. You need to plant a money tree that grows real money. I can't help you with that, but a money tree that's like a house plant, I could definitely help you out with that. I don't really have a lot of house plants, but I do know how people maintain and grow them. So you know where I'm at. Reach out, give me a call. So I'm not gonna water this in yet. So as you can see, this is a pretty long container, but I am gonna sit it over to the side so I can get along with some of the other plants. So I have that container completely done, and what I'm gonna do is have a little notebook here. I'm gonna simply come in, and I had a pen, oh here it is, write down what I planted so that I can keep a record of what I'm planting, how long it took to germinate, what environment I had. Did it rain any days? Was it like super cloudy? Did I shade it? So that in the event that these don't do well, I know what I did and I can self-correct for the next year. And another thing I could do is if they did really well, I can go in and do the same thing and maybe try to refine it so they can do even better the next year. So 8/17/25 started pot choy, and this was in a container. So I'm gonna sit it out a little bit later. If we have time today, I will take you outside, providing my device holds up and doesn't overheat and things like that. So what I also have here is an extra seed tray that I know that I said in one of my previous streams that I don't want to plant my cabbages and stuff in the smaller cell trays because cabbage plants get fairly big. So what I plan to do today is use the same seedling mix. So this is the seedling mix. Remember, I had the cocoa core seedling mix here that I used to start seeds, and I will show you all a picture of the seeds from the other day. If you go into my stream, you'll see that they germinated already, and I'm super hi Lucille, how are you again? Super excited that my seedlings from the other day germinated. So what I did notice from the other day, there are 2 trays of seeds that didn't germinate very well, and I actually think it's because the seeds are a bit old. So I did use one seed pack that was older than all the rest of the seed packs. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna replant those, but before I do that, I'm gonna use the cocoa core mix that we have ready here, and I'm gonna place them in here. So this is a tray that I use to water. So I'm gonna put the soil inside of little pots and then put the pots in here so that I can bottom water whenever I'm done. So let me just show you the pots that I'm gonna use to put them in, and I'm gonna use these. Either brand new, didn't have to disinfect them at all, which was a time saver for me. And I'm gonna start packing these up and putting soil in here. So what I'm gonna do for these are I'm gonna start some broccoli plants in those, as well as some cabbage plants. So I'm doing broccoli just because I always have trouble planting broccoli. So every year I try and something always goes wrong. So last year when I tried, I planted them in the smaller cells, and then when I tried to up pot them, they didn't survive. So what I'm doing this year is I'm just gonna go ahead and plant them in the bigger pot to begin with, so that when I plant them out in the yard, they have better established roots, because I think that's what happened last year. So let me just take a little water break to hydrate. If anybody has any questions, please put it in the chat. Please put it in the chat. All right. And just so that I don't mix anything up, I'm going to put my seed pack back in the container. All right. And I'm gonna take out the cabbage seeds that I'm gonna plant today. I purchased these seeds from M.I. Gardner, pretty reliable. I'm very happy with their products so far. And do I have any broccoli seeds? I do, if I can find them. Broccoli. Here we go. So then I have some broccoli seeds here. So I'm gonna take 2. Let me just see how many containers it takes to fill, small containers to fill this particular tray. So it's a smaller tray. You say these pots are very thin. Some people would say flimsy, but I like it when they're thin because when I get ready to take them out, I like for pots so I could be able to squeeze it and get it out a lot easier. So 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. Again, if you're new to my stream, please feel free to drop a subscribe, drop a like. Really appreciate all the support and everybody coming into this stream as a one-off. So I'm able to get 3, 6, 9, 11 of the small pots in one of these trays. So they kind of like overlap each other a little bit, which is fine. And I know that I can get 11 in here. So I'm going to try to do at least 4 broccoli plants because I can clip the different broccoli heads, and then once you clip the broccoli heads, the smaller ones, it'll start to produce smaller broccoli heads. So I don't need as many cabbages as I do. I don't need as many broccoli as I do cabbages at this point. And I'll probably do another tray depending on how far this soil goes. So I'm gonna move the camera back so that it's a little bit easier to see what I'm doing here. Hey Kurt, if you're still in the stream, can you tell me if you have, like, where you are, is it like a really big yard? I don't remember if you told me. And if you're ever gonna try to have a garden, just let me know. You didn't know I plant what? Rich saying he didn't know I planted those. What are those? So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start filling up these smaller pots. You know what? Let me move it over this way so you can kind of see. So you got a decent sized yard? You ever try having a garden? Or are you too busy for it? Because I know you're a busy man. You wouldn't mind? Maybe we'll talk. You might be able to make the Garden Glow Up series. That's on YouTube. Let's talk. So I don't know if I'm going to have enough seed starting mix for this. I might go grab another container from outside and do some more container gardening with some leafier greens that I like. What would be the simplest thing to grow? It really depends on what type of soil you have. So you kind of have to describe it, how much shade you have. So we're going into what I call the fall season now, but in my opinion, when you're doing like summer stuff, the easiest plants to grow are like your staples, like your green beans, your cucumbers, your tomatoes. Pepper plants are really easy to grow. So those are the type of things. And then it's honestly, there's no like right or wrong answer, but it also depends on what you like to eat, you know? So you could grow just simply things that you like to eat. one of the things that I grow that other people find hard to grow is carrots. So I'm gonna hopefully take you out a little later. Hopefully it's not too hot outside, because if it is, we won't be outside for long. I can guarantee you that. One of the things that I grow that a lot of people can't grow very well are carrots. So maybe I'll take you out and I'll let you see what my carrots look like. What I've been doing was pulling 1 carrot a day just so that I could see how big the taproot is. So the one I pulled yesterday was like the length of the palm of my hand, which to me, and I pulled one of the smaller ones. So to me, that means that, will there be anything? Of course, you know I'm saving some stuff for you, brother. So Rich is asking if there's anything left for him to pick. Yes, big brother, there will be a lot for you to pick next week. We're going to put you to work. We're going to put you to work. But leading into next week, so I'll be going on vacation, and leading into next week, there's going to be a video dropping tomorrow on what my garden looked like the last time I went on vacation and what I did to help it once I came back. So I might have to do another video like that again, because we're hoping that the garden does well. But sometimes when you go on vacation, depending on what the weather is, it could really damage your plants if it's not watered, or dinner or lunch, if it's not watered properly, or if it's not fertilized, or if the fruit on the plants aren't picked soon enough, it'll, slow down production and stuff like that. And you know what, Rich, I got you. We're gonna make something out of the garden next week for dinner one day. I think you're gonna enjoy it. I have plans already on what we're gonna eat out of the garden next week, so stay tuned. We might even record it so we can get your reaction to it. So yeah, he says no free labor. I hear you. Jason says, don't be so lazy on the job, Rich. Make sure you take that advice from your consistent follower there, okay? Don't be so lazy on the job, brother. Plus, we got to make time so that we have time to have fun too. So we got some things planned next week that I'm excited about. I hope Rich is excited about. So yeah. And before Jason doesn't understand that you're overworked, let me be transparent with everybody in the stream. Rich Black Man is my brother, my big brother. Love him to death, and I work that man, okay? So Rich Black Man gets worked when he's here. So before I drop the seeds in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my labels ahead of time. Because one thing that I noticed last week was I waited to do the labels after, and I was going so fast. And one of my trays over there, which I'll take you to see because I'm so excited about it, one of my labels is mislabeled, and I'm not sure if it's a collard green. I don't know if it's kale. And I don't know which collard green it is. So I just stuck collard green on it, hoping that it turns out to be a collard green, okay? So this is cabbage. So how many labels am I gonna do? So I don't even remember how many cabbages I said I was gonna plant. So we're just gonna go for it, right? Hey Jason, if you're still in the stream, can you tell me if you eat vegetables? Because somebody that I know in the stream doesn't eat a lot of vegetables. I'm not gonna say who it is. Also, just write these labels here. I'm hoping that this breeze keeps up, because if the breeze keeps up, we're gonna have a good stream to go outside, and I get to show you where I had to pull out some plants. Just like someone, look, drinking water is hard for me, okay? Because water doesn't taste like anything, and I like for whatever I drink to have some taste to it. So I put liquid IV in my water a lot, or some type of, whether it's a mint, some mint leaves or some lemon leaves, so that it makes it more tolerable. But the blue jug that I had on my other stream, I'm very proud of myself. I drank the whole thing that day. So kudos to me. I'm gonna go ahead and give myself a hand clap. If you're new to the channel, I see some new viewers in here. I see some more viewers. Thank you for coming. Make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe so you can see more content to come. Let's see, 1, 2. So I'll do 5. We'll split it. 5. No, I'm gonna do 1 more cabbage. And then the rest broccoli. One of my daughter's favorite vegetables is broccoli, so I'm hoping this year it does not mess up, because I would really love to not have to go to the supermarket and buy broccoli during the winter time. I don't know about you, but I would love it. So I'm gonna do 4 broccolis. I don't think I spelled that right. I sure didn't. It's okay, I know what it is. Broccoli. Alright. So, just gonna do that. And I'm gonna use the same little pin to go in and poke the holes in. Pretty much the same way I did the one over there. So, not pack the soil down too much. Put my little holes in. Again, if you're new to the stream and you're in the chat, let me know where you're from so I can give you a little shout out. Let me know where you're from. Let me know if you aspire to have a garden, or if you have a garden. If you have a garden, tell me what you have planted in it. So I'm going to start with the cabbage. I'll show you the cabbage seeds. They look more or less the same as the collard green seeds. They look just like the kale seeds. And it is very easy to mistake what seeds are what. So let me just pour some in my hand. You'll see that they're like a little bit brown, and they're small. They're the same. They look the same. So I'm going to drop, like I said, about 3 in each hole. 3. And then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3. 2, 3. Then add my 3rd. 2, 3. Oh, I messed up. You know what? I'll just switch out the tags. So this is cabbage and this will be broccoli. Perfect. I think I have seeds in all of the cabbage ones. Put this over here. So, you eat vegetables, Jason? What kind of vegetables do you eat? You eat store-bought vegetables? What kind? Take a sip of water. Now I'm going to... Oh, I broke my container. Oh no. It's okay. I'm gonna try to plant the broccoli head that looks like from the picture. It looks like it has like the head is very much tighter. So add my broccoli seeds in here. 2, 3. Oh, that was 4. It's okay. And last one here. All right. So I have my broccoli seeds in. I have my cabbage seeds in. Go in. And I'm just going to cover the holes where they are. Make sure they have good connection with the soil here. Not too tight. So that they are able to come up out of the soil. Broccoli and cabbage. And then I'll be able to bottom water. So did I get all of them? I got all of them. So I have a container here. It does have a bit of water in it, so I'm just gonna bottom water. Not a lot, so I'll probably have to come back and get more water into here. And I'm just gonna take it and sit it over where my other seeds are for now. So let me just move the camera so everybody can pretty much see where things are. And I'm gonna try to move something over here. I'll put it long ways. So no, I'm not gonna feed you any cabbage. So Rich says he hopes me. I'm trying not to feed him any cabbage. Look, Rich, I know you don't eat cabbage, but one day I'm gonna make something. You're not gonna know if it's cabbage or what, and you're gonna eat it. You're gonna say, "Oh man, that's delicious." So let me just show you up close and kind of like talk about what I'm doing with the seedlings that we planted. What was it? Wednesday. So they already germinated, which was a surprise for me. Go back and watch the video of me actually saying it for like one of the first times. I was super excited. I'm still super excited about it. And I'll tell you one thing that I think I may have done wrong, but I can correct that mistake and it's no worry, no issue whatsoever. So I'll show you. You'll see that I moved a light over on the where I put my seedlings at, right? So where I put the seedlings at is over here, right? And once they germinate, so what happened was we had the light, I had the dome on it for humidity, and we had all the doors closed to the sun port. So it got very hot in here. And what happened was the seedlings germinated. So I'll go in a little bit closer and you'll see that there are several different plants that came out of each one. And like I said earlier, if you come over to the side, this one, the two on the ends, they didn't really germinate. So I think it was because of old seeds, right? So one of the things that you'll see I have here are grow lights. So the reason why I have the grow lights so close to them is because when they first germinate, for the first couple days, you want to keep the light on them consistently. And then what I'm going to do is over time, right? Over time, I'm going to lessen the amount of light that it gets so it recognizes night and day. And I'm going to put the grow lights on a timer. So I'm going to try it again. And I'm going to put the dome back on so that these seedlings don't get too hot. And I'm going to self bottom water. And I'm hoping that these seedlings do somewhat of the same thing, right? So that's what we're going to do with that. So what I can do is if you look outside, you'll see that I have a lot of pots out there. Eventually, I'm going to put potting soil down and see how many of the pots I can fill so that I can have some containers, some container gardening going along with the in the ground gardening going on. So that is a bit of, so I've gotten the one container here. I could do another long container, and what I want to do with the other long container is put like mustard greens in it, because that's like a leafy green. And what I'm going to do with that, with the mustard greens, is I'm simply going to sprinkle the seeds, because I don't care if they come in heavy or not, because I'm simply going to be trimming the leaves off of those. And like I said, they're loose leaves for those. So before I do that, again, so that I don't forget what I planted and when, and I can keep a record of it, I'm just going to sit here and write down what I did today so far. So I already wrote down about how I have the pak choi in the container. I'm going to put how I have the, the different so I have 7 cabbage, and then I have 4 broccoli in the orange pots, and I have them on the rack. So the great thing about keeping the notes is, like I said, it lets me know season over season what's working versus what's not working, because as someone who has a garden, the one thing you want to do is you want to keep doing things better over and over again. Keep doing them better so that in the end, you can essentially have a very productive garden over time. So while I have a little bit of time and while I have you here, one of the things that I noticed, and I'll do a video and you'll see a video drop in a couple weeks, is you'll notice, or I've talked about, the reason why I'm starting my seedlings indoors is simply because I don't have enough space to plant my plants or to direct seed outdoors. And even if I was direct seeding outdoors, I wouldn't do it right now, right? Because it's too hot for some of these fall garden plants to bolt, and it's too early for them. So I'm starting them in pots. I'm starting them indoors so that when I clear space from the plants that's out there, the plants that are pretty much done and have done their work, I have space to put them. So one of the things that I've done so far is I pulled out a squash plant. It was completely done. It had so much powdery mildew on it that it was just not beneficial for the garden. I've pulled out some green bean plants. I pulled out some cilantro that bolted. But let me go back and talk about the green bean plants. The reason why I pulled out the green bean plants is because one morning I was outside watering and I kept noticing like these little white bugs, right? And I pulled one out and there were white bugs all over the bottom of the roots. The wind is blowing pretty good out here today. I don't want it to knock my device over, so I'm just going to move it. So there were white bugs all over the root of the plant. So what the white bugs were they were what they call white root aphids, and they essentially feed on the bottom of the plants, and that's what made a lot of sense why they were getting bigger and bigger, but it wasn't producing any fruit. So the white aphids were all over. They were all in the soil, and they were like laying eggs. So what I did was I treated the soil with neem oil. So I went back the next day and I didn't see any after I pulled out all of those plants, right? So, and I think it was affecting some of the plants around them as well. So the white aphids we got rid of. We pulled out the plants and we don't need those anymore, right? So that space that I have for fall gardening, one of the things that I'm going to do with the space as I clear it out is before I plant my fall plants, I'm going to go in and add a layer of compost on top of all the beds that I have, right? So I also planted in a few weeks ago another zucchini. I dropped some seeds so that as the plants are teetering out, the zucchini and squash plants, I can at least get another full harvest of zucchini coming in. So as long as the weather is great, I'm gonna keep trying with some of these summer vegetables. So my tomato bushes, I have one that's just about ready to come out, it's done producing, but then I have one that's pretty much loaded with tomatoes and I'm just waiting for them to ripen. One of the things that I'm doing is instead of letting them get fully red, I'm picking them when they have like tints of red, because I know if I sit them in a windowsill, they'll finish ripening on their own. The reason why I'm doing that is because when I came back from vacation, I waited a couple days and the tomatoes were red or getting red, and the squirrels came in, were picking them off one by one, taking a bite and throwing them on the ground. It kind of had me a little teed off, but then I eventually calmed down and I said, you know what my solution is going to be is just to pick them before they're fully red and put them on a windowsill. And I've gotten quite a bit of, oh, I don't know why, Rich, I'm on Bluetooth today. Hold on one second. Let me see. The mic is popping. Still on Bluetooth. How about now? If you can hear me okay, give me a thumbs up, some type of reaction in the chat. And it could also be not the mic popping, it could be the tablecloth on the table. Still popping? Okay, I'm gonna assume that it's okay now. So what I could do now is give you a little bit of a tour. Yeah, maybe it is the table. Before I give you a tour, I do want to do one more container of mustard greens in the flat garden box, because I have another garden box out there. I'm gonna run and go get it. Drop any questions in the chat that you could possibly have. Actually, I'll take you with me to go get it. So you'll notice that I do a lot of seating on my sun porch, and I have 2 doors, and for that I essentially use it as my gardening space. Hopefully nothing happens here. So you can see it's very sunny outside today. And just give you a little walking to grab another container here. Which one do I want to grab? I'll grab this one. Okay. To notify me. Oh, word. So I will be live on Wednesday. Or you saying notify me for Rich, because we both have pretty decent streams here. So I'll show you what container I grabbed. It's an older container. It's almost had its end with me, but I'm gonna keep using it till it breaks. Okay. So you can see I have another container here, same thing as the other one, but just not as new. And I'm essentially going to fill this one, and there's going to be a different type of planting method on how I spread the seeds in there. So and the difference is simply going to be is, you know, like the little guy you see putting salt, I'm going to essentially do that with this one. Just hit refresh. So I'm going to put back on these good gloves and try to fill this one as best I can. And then I'll get the seeds. I'll show you the seeds. I'll do the label. Kind of like a rinse, lather, repeat type of thing. Doing the same thing that I did before. Pretty much putting, move the chair back. Giving myself some space. So again, I'm just gonna put the, move this over a little bit. I'm gonna put the potting soil in here with my gloves on. Pretty much do it the same way I did before. This big bag of soil is so heavy that I can't like lift it. And like I said, I'm gonna put these right outside, but I'm gonna put it right next to the house where it's shaded, so that even if they sprout, they don't like they don't bolt on me. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep a note of it, so that if they do bolt, I know about when I planted them, so that I don't do the same thing next year. So normally I wouldn't really plant mustards this early. I would wait, but like I said, I like to experiment. So, and I have plenty of seeds, so I'm gonna give it a try. Just go in and add all the soil in here. Add the soil. I only add it to a certain point. So the thing about mustard greens is that their roots aren't very deep. So I can very shallowly put the seeds in the soil. And then what I'm going to do is once I put the seeds in, I'm just going to take a handful of potting soil and layer it at the top. What I also may do for the purpose of these seeds is not put them directly outside right away. So Rich, handle that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in and sprinkle the mustard green seeds. In the internet, man. Woo! I'm gonna go in and put in the mustard green seeds. So what I have here are giant red green. I have two tops to it. So I'm gonna put in the giant red mustard green seeds. Like I said, I'm just gonna sprinkle them in and then go in and cover them. Because I have a lot of them. And simply sprinkle them in. Sprinkle in, sprinkle in. And I'm going to sit it over to the side. And because the sun porch gets hot, I'm going to try to leave the door open for a couple days. And make sure it doesn't get too hot. Okay. Where is it? So just going to take a handful of soil and sprinkle it over, and then take my hand and pack it down. Make sure that there's good connection with the soil. All right. And then again, do a label. Red giant mustard. Okay. So all right. Then I'm gonna just set this one over here. I blocked myself in. And what I'll do is eventually I'll put these outside. Eventually I will put those outside after I give it a good sprinkle of water. I'm pretty much going to use the water hose and use the mist function to water. And before we end the stream, I'll give everybody a preview of my garden. The goal is not to harvest anything today. I'm just going to show you what's in the garden, show you. So yes, Rashawn asks, is the whole bin going to be mustard greens? That whole bin will be mustard greens, okay? But the other one is pak choi cabbage, which I did in the zigzags. So there's two bins that are ready. Then I have the container over there. And then what I eventually have to do is the bricks that I use for seeding. I'm gonna put this in and add it to the other seeding stuff so that I have enough to go in and moisten this. It'll expand and make more of the seed starting mix. And so what I'll do probably during the week is seed start more vegetables on the inside so that I can at least go in and have more seedlings. I like to have more than what I need, and whatever I don't use, I pretty much will use with help supply other people with them to start their fall gardens. So there it goes. So Rich Black Man says that he can't eat everyone's greens, and you are absolutely correct. So everybody cooks their greens differently, and it tastes different is all I can say. I'm not gonna make too many comments on that, but hey, it is what it is. So let's just go outside for a minute, and I will show everyone where I created space to put some of the things that I'm starting from seed now. I'm not gonna be out here too much longer because it is getting quite toasty outside. So close this to keep the flies from coming in. I'll switch it so that everyone can see where I am going. So I'll start on this side, and you see I still haven't pulled up this zucchini plant, only because it has, oh my god, a zucchini here that I need to pick. I don't know. Oh, you can't see it because of the leaves, but I have to pick this one. It's actually getting a little bit too big. And after I pick that one, that'll be it. Here's the tomato bush where I said had a lot of tomatoes that I'm waiting to ripen. The bush is getting kind of heavy, so it's leaning a little bit. You see that? And then here are the cucumbers. They're looking kind of sad, so what I did was I put in some extra seeds, and if I have time, I'm gonna guide them grow up on the strings that I have here. So I've been picking them lately, and I've been looping them around the string there and guiding them. This bush has pretty much done producing at the bottom, but if you look closer to the top, it's going up, 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 taller than me. So a lot of times I need a step stool to, yeah. So Farmer Camille is gonna come out here and harvest these cherry tomatoes here. So they're going up, up, up. And as you can see, parts of the bush, because it's so heavy, is starting to bend downward. So I think this tomato bush is on its end, and that's okay. Then this is a little tomato bush. It's on its end. And one of the good things about jalapeno peppers is that they produce a lot. So I've gotten tons and tons of jalapenos off these bushes here. And yeah, then I have the ornamental pepper plant. So I did some research, and the peppers are what you can eat. You cannot eat the leaves off of these plants here. So a lot of people don't eat okra, but I do. There's some okra that I have to go in and pick, and then there's an okra flower that I think is very, very beautiful here. I have about 4 or 5 okra bushes. There's another okra that I have to pick here. And then here's the other tomato bush that's on its way out. I picked a lot at the bottom already. This is a determinant, so once it's done, it's done. So, like I was saying, remember I had green beans down at the bottom here? That's where the aphids were. So I pretty much had to get rid of them. And I pretty much pulled them all out of the garden. And as you can see, the chicken wire, but inside here is where all the pepper plants are and the carrots. I will try to go in there and pray that it doesn't cut out. But what I'm waiting on, and I think it's gonna happen soon, is, see if I can go in here. If I go in here and I look down, there's a bell pepper down there. See, it's pretty big. I'm waiting for it to turn red, and then there are others here. There's my purple basil that I'm gonna harvest some on. And then you can't really see it unless you put your hand in. But let me just show you guys something interesting. I've been picking a bunch of these. So see if I could put this down. right? Here, if I lift the leaves up, see all those habanero peppers? They're like orange. You can see them better from the back side. So let me just, gonna prop you here. Hope it doesn't fall. And I'm just gonna lift it up. So all in the back here, in the back, and under here are like habanero peppers. And because the plants are so like healthy, you can't really see it unless you pick the leaves up. And they're like loaded. So I'm gonna have to start making hot sauce pretty soon. And as you can see, the plants are so very, I don't know, luscious that you could barely see the fruit on it. And then if I take you around and I pull you down, get a little closer, you can kind of see them. Pull the camera down from the back side of it. So I have to pretty much go in there and grab them as best I can. And then over here, I got my marigolds, but my strawberry plants, it's been kind of hot, so they're not really producing the way that they were. And what I'm thinking of is removing them from the ground and putting them in pots. Okay? So that's a little preview of what I got going on outside. And hopefully what I'll do a little bit later is go in and fertilize some things. Here's a pepper plant that I have in a container outside, and this container always produces very good pepper plants. So I don't know the name of this one. If anybody in the stream knows, let me know. But what I did was I made a mistake. I threw away the label whenever I put them out. Let me just make sure that the stream didn't drop. And we're back. Okay. So that's a little preview. It's called the plant. Yeah, it's called the pepper plant because I don't know what kind of pepper plant it is. So that's about the amount of time that I wanted to spend online today. I'll be back on Wednesday. Not really sure what the topic is going to be. It could be inside seed starting some more. It could be outside showing you what I pulled out of the garden or doing some maintenance. And it could just be a Q&A session for any gardeners that possibly wants to come into the stream. I hope everybody enjoyed the stream this morning. I hope you learned something. Make sure you subscribe and you hit the little bell icon so that the next time I come online, you'll get the notification. Happy gardening, everybody. Happy Sunday, everybody. And I hope to see you next time. Again, thank you all for the support. I'm Farmer Trash, and I hope to see you again later.